This is going to be one of my shortest videos ever because this script isn't even 2,000 words. So I actually want to animate my intro, but I can't draw well yet. So, this is a placeholder. Hi, welcome back. It's Mex here, and today I'm doing a video about the hybrid species within Genshin Impact. Now, Genshin Impact, like many other anime games, has a bit of an obsession with cat girls, but it's not just cat girls. There's a myriad of different human and animal hybrids that we see throughout the game. And so, I, a person who is not studying biology, has a very surface level understanding of biology, and who likes to logisticize literally any fictional world around, has decided that I'm going to do some research into how exactly the biology and anatomy about being half animal, half human would have an effect on, well, the half human side of their body. Now, of course, there are some rules within the Genshin Impact universe that we have to follow. Number one, Adepti and yokai are immediately crossed out of the list because, technically speaking, they are immortal beings and simply take on a human form. So really, they can't really count in this list since, like, they're not really human to begin with. Secondly, any half Adepti yokai species is also excluded out, so Ganyu doesn't get in, Yanfei doesn't get in, Ito doesn't get in, none of these characters get to go in as well. With that being said, let's head into the cats. Again, don't mind me looking down, it's my laptop. So, felines are the most popular hybrid species that we see throughout Genshin. We not only just see it as regular playable characters, I think we get one NPC who has cat ears, but that's about it. Genshin really sucks when it comes to, like, you know, showing the world building through the NPCs. That's why I kind of prefer Zenless Zone Zero for that. Anyway, with felines, we have characters like Diona, Lynette, Linny, and I know some people are going to be upset with me saying, oh, but Linny doesn't show, like, having cat ears or, like, a cat tail, but the thing is, his sister Lynette does, and they are twins, so technically speaking, he also probably got the recessive gene. He just didn't get the recessive gene that showed physical cat-like appearances. So I'm going to include him in this because, technically speaking, he still has the cat genes. He just is not showing the physical problems of it. And I think he does have rather feline-looking eyes. Maybe I'm, like, misremembering it, but his eyes are a bit, like, you know, feline-esque. And next is Xiaolin. Now, they all will fall within the feline family, with Xiaolin falling into a more predator type. Well, all cats are predators, but Xiaolin is specifically, I think, a cheetah or a leopard. I think it's a leopard, though. So she falls into a more bigger cat feline territory. Now, of course, the many characters that share the physical characteristics of cats have cat ears on the top of their head, and sometimes, but not always, they have a cat tail. Now, the physical characteristics are already a bit of a thing. Now, a key thing that comes to mind about cat people is the ears. You see, your vestibular system is in charge of keeping you in balance. The human vestibular system is pretty simple. Well, not simple, but it's complex. It's complex, but it's simple. Basically, your ears have an inner working in them, which keeps your brain in balance. The inner ear makes sure that your brain receives signals to tell you when you're on balance. If you spin around over and over again, your vestibular system will feel that effect, and even after you sit down, it will still feel like it's spinning because the crystals in your ear will keep sending signals to your brain that you're moving, and until the crystals finally settle down, your brain will still continue to think that you're moving. Same can be done with cats. Now, as opposed to humans whose vestibular system is just a straight way through their head, cats have a more downward one. With their ears being located on the top of their head, it goes more straight down. Now, that's where the problems come in, because then it would mean that these cat people, and also the canines, and basically any other species that has cat ears on the top of their head, or any type of animal ears on the top of their head, would cause a lot of issues for their vestibular system. It would be pretty fucked, because your brain would have to be basically interpreting two different vestibular systems. It would be taking in your human one and your cat one. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Mex, what about, like, their human ears? Like, do we see them? That's that's the thing I actually gotta give Hoyoverse. They managed to get away with, like, if they have human ears or not, by always making sure that the hairstyle covers their human ears. I swear to God, I was looking through every single species that has some sort of animal ears. Every last one of them had a hairstyle that covered their human ears. So they literally went through the work to make sure that no one could, like, say, oh, what about the human part? Like, won't that, like, fuck up their, like, balance? Because that would really fuck up your balance. And they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna make it where we don't even see their human ears. Have a great time guessing if they got human ears or not. And it's like, to think whether or not they have human ears is a bit hard, because if they don't, then this just means that the entire side of their, like, where your ears are, it's just smooth. And that's a really creepy thought to me. I don't know, like, that's a real creepy thought to me. Next up, we need to get into foods when it comes to the cat species. I'm going to get a little more in depth about, like, the food situation when we reach the canines, but I just want to, like, bring it up now with felines. Now, when it comes to eating, we as humans are allowed to eat a lot of different things. A short list of, like, what cats are not allowed to eat are alcohol, chocolates, grapes, raisins, onions, garlic, caffeine, and high amounts of sugar. So cats can really only eat, like, you know, berries which are very low in sugars. Nothing that's like, oh, you can't give them a chocolate cake. Sorry, you can't give your cat a chocolate cake. So when it comes to food, they do relatively eat human. Like, we see Lynette is very, like, Lynette has no problem with eating foods that are human in retrospect. Well, not retrospect, but human foods. We see her constantly drink tea. We see her constantly eating sweets to the point where her brother is telling her not to. I do kind of wonder if Lenny does have, like, a type of recession gene where if he got the side where, while Lenny's human body can process eating human food, maybe he has a bit more problems with processing human food. Like, maybe, you know, he can't eat certain foods without getting an upset stomach. Maybe he has better night vision, or they both have night vision because, you know, cats have really good night vision as opposed to a human. Another thing is Diona can work well with alcohol, and if you're watching this and you've never played Genshin Impact and you're thinking to yourself, how the hell is this 10-year-old child working at a bar? We don't even know. But she does work with alcohol, and she does hate alcohol, but more in a, I don't like the fact that my dad is an alcoholic, not a, oh, it's disgusting to be around and it makes me dizzy just smelling it. So that's where we're at when it comes to, you know, human food. But now getting into the canines is where things get a little more tricky. Many of the canine characters have similarities with what we've seen with the cats, having either dark tails, ears, or both. But canines within the game do show a bit more differences, I've noticed, than cat people. For one, when it comes to food, we actively do see them show discomfort from eating certain foods. For example, Tynar, well, I'm going to go with Tignary because I saw a lot of Swana creators say that it's Tignary, so I'm going to say it's Tignary, who is based off of the fennec fox, says that he can't eat spicy foods since they make him sick.
Factory system is overly sensitive, so I lack the good fortune to enjoy heavily spiced foods. Quite the shame in Sumeru.
Anything but onions are an exception. One time, the logistics division added ground onion to my food, and I, bawled in front of everyone, right there at the mess table. Talk about embarrassing. The soldiers from logistics felt terrible about it too.
Because he is a Valakshana. And also, Tainari is, like, the only character who gets, like, an actual origin as to why he has animal ears, as opposed to, like, basically any other species within the game. Like, we don't really get any, like, canonical origins as to how, like, cat people or dog people or any other, like, half human, half animal species existed. We just, like, kind of have them there, and it's like, well, they're just there. Like, what do you want us to do about it? And I can't really say what I want them to do about it because, like, we don't know. Like, the closest thing we get is the Velukshana, who are considered, like, this, like, sacred race. And then we have Diona talking about how she has a family line of cats, but, like, it's not really discussing, like, how the fuck is there half human, half animal cat. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna say that somebody fucked a cat. Anyway, getting back on track. Another thing that I see with canines is they seem to be able to communicate with the animal that they're half part of. At least I've only seen this with the canine characters, more specifically with Goro. In Goro's hangout event, he is straight up having a conversation with the dog. Not just understanding the dog, not just saying, not like a whole, oh my god, little Sally's stuck in a well. Like, no, he's having a full-blown conversation with that dog.
I don't know what's gotten into Tarumaru today.
He says he knows where the treasure hoarders are hiding. How can I describe it? It's like listening to a regional dialect. A lot of it goes over my head, but I can still get the general gist. Anyway, he says he was there at the scene of the crime. The treasure hoarders didn't see Tarumaru as a threat, so he stayed and listened in on their whole conversation. Since there were so many of them and they were armed, Tarumaru didn't dare to bark loudly, so he just had to let them go.
Oh, no wonder. Poor boy. He's been acting more anxious than usual lately, and is always looking outside. And I thought he just wanted someone to take him for a walk.
Yes, that does sound like quite a predicament. Okay, I think I understand now. Tarumaru says he heard the treasure hoarders conspiring to hide out at the beach directly below Tenshukaku. No one usually thinks to look there, and it's become something of a safe haven for treasure hoarders. He also mentioned that there were a gang of 5 people. The leader's name is Kosuke, and the second in command is called Yasuhisa. The leader's scent indicated he was probably from the Narukami Island area, while the 2 newcomers in the team were more likely from somewhere else. Thank you, Tarumaru. It must have been hard for you, knowing the details of the crime but not being able to communicate them.
And we get no explanation as to how he's having that full-ass conversation with that dog. And when it comes to Diona, I would think, oh, I decided to replay her quest. Yeah, no, like she does talk with the cats, but not in like a, oh, I can understand you conversationally. More like a, I can just understand their behaviors because I've worked with these cats for so long. So it doesn't feel like she can understand the cats in like a, oh, all it has to do is say meow, 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 and she can understand what the fuck it's saying. We're gonna be able to figure out the answers to this mystery. Wait, there's a cat. Diona, you're half cat. Maybe you could understand what it's saying. Meow. Meow, meow. What did she say? Political climate of the world has been really stressful for her because everything is just out of whack. Like she can't really afford food or anything like that. And it's just getting more and more stressful as the days go by. And no one really considers her opinion and all of that. Oh, okay. Well, there is no way that cat said all of that. She meowed like 3 times. Next up, we have elves, and this is a relatively short one because technically they're not really hybrids, but I just kind of want to talk about the elves within Genshin. We have no lore giving us, again, any origin of the of people with elf ears in Genshin. We don't know if they live longer lifespans. We don't know if they get some sort of special privileges with having elf ears. All we know is that there are people with elf ears throughout the game, and no one really questions it. It's said that with this next nation that we're entering into called Nordcry, that we might be getting some possible origin story for the elves, and they might be phased. At least that's what the lore that we see is associating it with. But again, that's hard to say because we don't have any designs of what this phased species looks like, and we also don't really know much about Nordcry to begin with. So shit, we didn't even know that Nordcry was going to be a fucking nation. We thought we were going straight to Snezhnaya, but no, we're going to like a territory of Snezhnaya before we go to actual Snezhnaya. So, you know, not a whole lot to be said. When it comes to elves, when you see elves' ears, that's just a basically extra cartilage on your ear. Anything around like this side is cartilage, so any elf ears is just extended cartilage. Now, with that, you do get like a better hearing. It does a better job at channeling out your hearing. However, it could have also been used for thermal regulation because of evolution, meaning that they could have survived in a more rougher climate, regardless of whether it was heat related or cold related, but possibly cold related. Now, this is a more miscellaneous list of just a few other characters that we don't have enough characters of the species to say, okay, we can make a full section on it. So we're just lumping them all together because why the fuck not? The characters we have right now are Kachina, based on many possible animals, which we'll get into, Varissa, a cow, and Oron, a bat. I'm gonna let my foot off that man's neck just for this fucking video. Just for this fucking video, I'm gonna let my foot off his neck. Kachina is one of the harder animals to place because, like, no one is in agreement as to what animal she's supposed to be. Like, I'm not even lying here. Like, I checked the Reddit page, I checked Genshin interviews, I checked a whole bunch of resources. No one can get a canon confirmation on what the fuck animal this girl's supposed to be based off of. Because she has the ears, and so people think, oh, it's this, that, and the other. But then the tail immediately throws off that theory, because the tail is like really short, and then the other species we're talking about have really long tails. So the top 5 answers that I got for Kachina were a chinchilla because of the ears, a pika because of the ears and the tail, a prairie dog. I don't really see the prairie dog, but I saw people say prairie dog. A teparingo, which is a volcano rabbit in, I think, South America, a volcano rabbit in South America, and a wallaby, which I don't see the wallaby either, but I can possibly agree with a chinchilla, a pika, and a teparingo. Now, I'm just, to save me the time and the trouble and the headache, I'm just going to say that she is based off of an animal that is either within the rodent family or the lagomorph family. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck is a lagomorph? Well, guess what? As someone who was a rabbit owner, may she rest in peace, she saved me so much money by dying the same day I was going to put her down. But as a previous rabbit owner, I can tell you, rabbits, contrary to popular belief, are not rodents. Yeah, they're not rodents. They're lagomorphs. Lagomorphs are different from rodents. Why do you think that? Well, it's not just, it's their jaw. It's their jaw. It's the main difference between them and rodents. It's their jaw. But you know, it makes sense why people make the confusion, because rabbits burrow, rodents burrow, and so people think that they're rodents. So, you know, I don't blame them. Also, a lot of the animals in the lagomorph family really do look like fucking rodents. Like, you put them side by side, they're cousins basically. But anyway, we can speed run Kachina because the ears help with better hearing, but of course if she has human ears as well, her vestibular system is fucked. Next up, the tail, which will probably help with balance and, you know, fly swatting. We see that as well. And finally, we have her possibly being a bit more agile, since, like, most animals within both of these families are known for their agility and being, like, very, very fast. So she could be a rather fast, like, opponent. And we do kind of see that within the game, that she's really, really fast. So that seems to be canon within the game. Next up is Varissa, the cow. She's one of the latest, like, Genshin Impact characters that have been released. Now, when it comes to her, this does bring in some questions. For one, she's calf cow, meaning that her diet would be mainly vegetarian. And I did look at all the art that we do have of her, and, like, again, Hoyoverse did its research, because anytime I thought I saw this girl eating meat, she was eating something vegetable based. So I guess she really is a vegetarian through and through, because cows are herbivores. I have to look at, like, it was a lot of art. I have to look at a lot of art. But almost every single piece of art that they did of her, she's eating something. So it wasn't too hard. Now, the horns do pose an interesting question. You see, horns are keratinous. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I'm just going to say it's keratinous and hope that an actual biology major doesn't crucify me in the comments. But that basically means that keratin, the material that your nails are made out of, is what makes horns. Now, of course, when that is destroyed, the horns will never grow back, but they do, however, still grow because keratin is constantly growing. I don't know if you know this, but yeah, horns are constantly growing all the time, and you're probably thinking to yourself, but I've never really seen an animal out in the wild that looks like they have, like, overgrown horns. Yeah, because they're actively using their horns for digging, defense, or maybe just to have fun. So they're actively using their horns and dulling them out so that they don't cause them more problems in the future. However, if in domesticity, it becomes an issue. In fact, there's, like, this very, like, graphic photo, I'm not going to put it up, but basically it's of a ram goat, and rams have horns from here that go around and go around the face, and because they weren't being properly trimmed, it went straight through his skull and it died, which is very unfortunate. So she would probably need to keep those trimmed very, very often. Her ears seem to be located on the side of her head, so maybe she doesn't have to deal with as many vestibular issues as like another human, because it does kind of seem like her ears are just on the side of her head. So maybe she doesn't even have human ears and they are replaced by the cow ears. But an interesting thing is, again, Barissa has horns. Barissa is a woman. Cows only get horns if they're males. And Varissa's color scheme slowly resembles the trans. Let me stop there before they crucify me. And finally, we have Auron. And for the sake of this video, I will keep my foot off of that hot topic emo wannabe gacha life character just for the sake of this video. I won't harp on his ass until my issues with Not One video. Then, and only then, will I press my foot on that boy's neck so damn hard that I'll fuck. So Auron is half bat, which kind of brings in a lot more problems than the other characters. For one, he's the only hybrid species that isn't a yokai or adepti that can fly. Now, we don't see him have like actual bat wings, or at the very least it doesn't seem like he has bat wings. So he just seems to use his vision to propel him in the air. It doesn't seem like he actively has something that can help him with flying on the regular. However, being half bat means that his vestibular system is way more advanced and articulated than like any other hybrid species that we've seen. Again, can't see if he has human ears or not, so I don't know if that's to his advantage or disadvantage, because the more complex one is, the more it's gonna really fuck you up with a less complex one. So yeah, it's a bit of a fuck ass time. He might have a type of echolocation. He might not utilize it all the time, but he could possibly be using echolocation. I do wonder how his vision works. Like, I guess the human side seems to take over a bit more, because I have seen footage of him in the daytime. Like, he does seem to be out in the daytime, so it doesn't seem like he's like fully nocturnal, but I do wonder if maybe he operates better at night as opposed to the day. I haven't played Notland, so I can't really say much about it, but all I'm saying is I would have to wonder if his vision is like really, really bad, because again, bats are blind, or at the very least they're partially blind. Like, they can't see well. That's why they have the fucking echolocation. And now I also have to wonder, again, because he is half bat, can he unknowingly carry rabies? Since, if you didn't know, all bats are carriers for rabies. If you are near a bat, please get your rabies shot. Do not touch a fucking bat. I don't care if it's on the fucking street dying. Don't touch that fucking bat. You don't want to get fucking rabies. Don't touch the fucking bat. In fact, that's one of like my OCD fears, like every single night, about a bat getting into my house. What a long and tiring day. I can't wait to go to sleep, because I need to sleep, because I only slept like 4 hours last night. So I can't wait to get a good night's rest. What you up to? Just getting ready to go to bed. You know, got a very big day tomorrow. Cool. Have you ever once considered that a bat could fly into your house at night while you're sleeping and then bite you and then fly back out without you realizing it, and then you'll start showing signs of rabies and then you'll die, because once you show signs you're gonna die? And like, that's not really good. So why don't you get out of bed and like check your house 10 times, make sure that there isn't a bat in your room, and then make sure there's no way that a bat could get in. And then after that, you're gonna go back to bed and then like check again 5 more times. And then you're just gonna be anxious about it for the rest of the night and not fall asleep. Shut me. I mean, we could also say this about like, I guess every single character. Can every single character who is half hybrid species be a reciprocator for a type of animal-born illness, and that can transfer that into humans? We don't know that for sure, but hey, we can think about it. I wouldn't be a good liberal arts student if I didn't decide to talk about the social discrepancies in which these hybrid species would experience within the human world. Now, we actually already see I know I'm on my bullshit, but we do actively see how hybrid species are treated within Genshin based off of a few stories. Diona, for instance, is constantly referred to as being cute, and it's not just about her being a kid. The scenes are like very uncomfortable, I will say that. If you're gonna get into Genshin Impact, just be prepared for those types of scenes, because dear God, it is both creepy and really disgusting. It's not something that you want to witness. It's really creepy and disgusting watching fully grown men like call her cute and kind of like treat her like a plaything. That's like the best way I can describe it. Like they treat her like a little plaything. It's fucking pedophilic. I'm sorry, it comes off as pedophilic, but it does seem that many people seem to harp on the fact that she is more so a cat than she is a kid. Like that's the one thing that they're constantly harping on. Like, oh, look at your cat tail, look at your cat ears. And it basically accentuates it even more. Goro also talks about how he constantly feels like he isn't taken seriously, being a whole ass military general. He is a military general who doesn't feel like he's taken seriously because he has dog ears and a tail. We also hear that he has extended family, but we've never seen his family, not as NPCs or even within his story quest. He just mentions that he has a mom and dad and that he has siblings. I think he has like, what, 4 of them? So yeah, that's basically all we really know about him when it comes to other family members. Tighnari seems to have it the worst out of all of the other characters. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration. He has it worse in terms of like how he's treated. You see, his character story is about how many people would purposefully touch his hair, touch his ears and his tail without permission, because Veluxanas are very rare to see within the academia. So he's like the one Veluxana there, so everyone is like treating him kind of strange about it. Another thing is that people kind of also ostracize him because, again, he's a Veluxana. He's human, but not fully human. So again, it kind of leads to this like very weird thing. He doesn't live in the city not just because he loves the forest. Like, he loves the forest, he cares about the forest, but another thing is that he doesn't want to deal with the noise and the harassment that he gets in the city, because again, he's the only Veluxana within the city. Like, even with his high intellect, the academia, at least the students within the academia, do treat him strangely. It's gotten to the point where this man doesn't take photos. Like, he doesn't smile when he takes photos because he feels like he's being used as like a specimen and that people are like making jokes about it because, you know, so he doesn't smile in photos at all. So there's this very prominent issue within almost every hybrid species within Genshin Impact of like an infantilization or some sort of like ostracization that happens because they're half human and then half animal, which is kind of crazy to think about because humans have probably been living with these species for like thousands upon thousands of years. Like the Veluxana, again, are considered like this sacred race of people who lived in the desert before integrating into the forest. So it's like, we're out here treating sacred species like this? What the fuck? Like, damn, we never got our foot off people's neck. We even see this with like the Adepti and, well, not the Adept, well, I guess somewhat the Adepti, but the Adepti are more highly regarded. We see this within more half Adepti species who are half Adepti, half human, who try to integrate into more like human population because they feel kind of exiled within the Adepti community. So they try to integrate more with humans, but then of course humans aren't supposed to really like, I guess they can't really like fuck around with the Adepti like that. So they do try to hide it. Ganyu specifically, even though she's been around the fucking harbor for 5,000 years, constantly tells people that her horns aren't horns, they're just a hair accessory. Yonfei also seems to tell people that her antlers, which are more downward, are also a hair accessory. Ito is a half Oni, I forgot if he's half Oni and half human, or if he's a full Oni and he's just a bit more human presenting, because that man be getting it rough. That man was ostracized hard. But also, when you remember the folklore of Oni, I guess it's a bit more understandable because they're demons. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. You know, this is a really short video. I'll probably have it uploaded within the day. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want more Genshin related videos. And I'll see you again next time. Bye.